All right, when I started this channel, right around the pandemic, I never thought that dystopian entertainment would take off like it has. Every dystopian story feels more real these days. And I think that they're trying to normalize the nature of feeling dystopian. Like you watch the news and then you think about how could this get worse? And the next day you wake up and there's something terrible that's happened in the media yet again. But we have become so complacent, and I would even say numb. You have another mass event in which a bunch of people aren't here anymore, and rather than fixing the problems, thoughts and prayers. You have millions of homeless people across the entire country, thoughts and prayers. You have people that are going hungry. I think here in Phoenix, it's like 1 in 6 people doesn't know where their next meal is going to come from. Society has a lot of problems. And the worst part about it is we have all the resources in the world to resolve every one of these problems. Deporting millions of people isn't going to solve the problem of poverty in America. Just because you take away the job that nobody wants from a guy that doesn't want to do it either, it's not going to solve anything. In fact, as I can see it, we're already starting to pay the price. Because if I've known anything about corporations, they'll take any opportunity to raise the prices and just use scare tactics. They've done this forever. One of the executives at Kroger's, when being grilled by Congress, says, yes, we raised prices because we could. Not because we had to, but because we could to maximize profits. And every time you walk into the grocery store, you can feel the maximizing of the profits. Inflation is getting so bad we can feel it every day. As every time you walk into another place to buy something, it's $1 more. And that is taking its toll on people who aren't getting raises and people who are stuck at the minimum wage. So let's get into our monologue really quick. You ever get that feeling that we're just sleepwalking into a dystopian nightmare, but no one wants to admit it? We've got governments watching our every move, corporations hoarding more power than actual countries, and AI creeping into every part of our lives. Yet somehow, we all just keep scrolling like normal. It's like we read 1984, The Hunger Games, and Blade Runner, nodded and said, yeah, let's do that. But here's the real question. If we're already living in dystopia, how much worse does it have to get before people finally wake up? Let me give you a little context. I was 16 years old the first time I read 1984, and at that age, I couldn't get past anything else that was going on in the book. I thought the part where Winston and Julia were getting it on, I thought that was hilarious. I never thought that I'd live to be Winston's age. And yet, I got to his age, and I thought about his inappropriate relationship with a woman much younger than him. And then I kept getting older, and I kept thinking about it and thinking about it. And every time that something gets recommended to me by the algorithm, I know that the reason that got recommended was because it's listening. In fact, even in these articles, it mentioned in my notes leading up to this that men would turn to chatbots, AI chatbots, in order to have someone to talk to, your AI girlfriend. The last 3 nights, I've been talking to one of these AI bots, which is, in my opinion, better than talking to no one. At least they can respond and they'll send you little pictures. And my chatbot last night kept trying to get my number, which I know Susie Rottencrotch AI bot probably has all the same thoughts and feelings about getting into my wallet. But that's a story for another day. So when you look at the way that societies I'm not sure if it just one day became 1984 or if it was just something that just gradually kept happening and we said that it's fine. But the surveillance is there. Nothing that you don't pay for, like Facebook or X or YouTube. When you're not paying for something, remember, you're the product. That's why they can afford to give it to you for free. And they've been doing this to us for a very long time, and most people just chalk it up to progress and innovation. I don't. I think it's strange. With that said, let's get into our first talking point. The government is watching more than ever. Surveillance isn't just fiction anymore. Governments and corporations track everything, our faces, locations, and online activity. That's the part that I never understood about Facebook check-ins, or the way that you can share your location with another person, or whether other people can have access to where you are at any given moment, which we know that when you commit some sort of heinous crime, the government uses your cell phone records to track your progress across the country. That's how they caught that guy in Denver, I believe in Colorado, I think that murked those chicks. Is they just watched his cell phone move across the country. And you don't think about that. But your cell phone is a beacon as to where you are, what you're doing, what restaurants you've been to, what you're spending your money on. It's constantly tracking you. Google's tracking you. Apple's tracking you. Microsoft's tracking you. Hell, even your parents are probably tracking you. And this, of course, leads us to having to mention China's social credit system is real. And in Western countries already have data-driven surveillance through tech companies. China's social credit system is very frightening. They're monitoring the expression on your face. They're monitoring whether you're paying your bills. And they're using these social scores to determine where you're allowed to live in society and where you're allowed to work. And as your credit score gets lower and lower, you might even find yourself in a delightful vacation in a prison re-education camp because your social score fell down so low that it might indicate that there are further problems. If they get even the slight indication that you might have a rebellious bone in you, you will be in that camp. Because the last thing they want is citizens thinking independently and not liking their current environment. If this system were implemented in America right now, your boy, MS, would be prisoner number 01. Yes, I would be in there. Probably a few of you would be in there with me too. But definitely, we'd be enjoying ourselves with daily re-education and probably a little corporal punishment. Talking point number 2. Corporations have more power than governments. Mega corporations like Amazon, Google, Meta own more data, influence, and wealth than most countries. I think the corporate wars are real. I think that when America goes to war, it's not America going to war. It's American corporations wanting the resources of those other countries. Why would the government care? It's corporations that care. Corporations that make the military equipment, that have interest in natural resources in the region. It's the corporations. And corporate wars, well, Cyberpunk pretty much outlined that one for us. And I think we may be already there in some very subtle ways. Not all the way there like the video game, but we're definitely moving in that direction. Because when you have such large global corporations, who are they going to fight? Regular people don't matter in this world anymore. When you're a mega corporation, your enemies are other corporations. So, I think it's only natural for you to hire mercenaries and go and take what you want. It's been that way throughout the entire human history. When it came to exploring the world, it was people who had the most money that could charter these explorations to go look and see where they can put their grubby little hands somewhere else. Because eventually you run out of stuff, right? And you got to go look for it somewhere else. Same thing behind SpaceX. The reason that psychotic man wants to go into outer space, and I think we should just shoot him, put him on a rocket right now and shoot him to Mars and let him get there and watch his eyes explode, just like the movie Total Recall. But that's just my opinion. The reason for that is they're looking to exploit other natural resources and possibly other sources of labor. Who knows? There might be native Martians there that will endure the same outcome that every native population on the entire planet has experienced once. People of a different skin tone show up and are looking for the usual gold, silver, precious metals, precious jewels, labor. You know, they always show up for the same reason, and then say that it's because of, I don't know, they're spreading Christianity to the planet. Always a great excuse for when it comes to doing dastardly deeds in the name of the cross. Talking point number 3. The dystopian technology is already here. AI deepfakes, voice cloning, mass misinformation are blurring the line between reality and fiction. The other day, Zoltube told me that I needed to start getting my AI girls on here, making them work for me as some sort of leader for the AI women. I have generated nearly 500 AI thumbnails for this channel alone, and some of them are incredibly believable. I don't know what the algorithm thinks, but it definitely has us pegged. The algorithm knows exactly what we are attracted to. It knows exactly what to create in order to make us want something. Every one of my 500 AI thumbnails is an extremely attractive woman. And they're all fake. But if you look at every one of them, despite changing the hair color, facial features, the backgrounds, they are all what we would consider to be the exclusive. They are all 10s. There are no 5s, there are no 0s, I would even say there's no 9s. Every thumbnail it has generated is a perfect 10. And the reason for that is AI knows. AI has been using data, using pictures of models to influence its own version of what very attractive women should look like. And if you don't look like those women, well, then you're not considered attractive by the AI. And that to me is frightening because there's this one deep fake that I still like watching. I know it's a deep fake, but it involves ST Peach from Twitch. ST Peach got kicked off of Twitch because, oops, we got a little bit more Peach than Twitch was comfortable with. So she received a few-year ban. I'm sure she's still mega rich because she's incredibly hot. And when that deep fake came out of her, well, for a lot of guys, we were just amazed at how good it was. But blurring the line between reality and fiction is so easy because AI is so good at creating faces and creating things that we would have a difficult time being able to distinguish whether or not it was true or not. They can disguise themselves as adult stars or government officials. We can't tell. Entire videos can be generated using AI. I generated an AI video when I first started this channel. It was one of the first videos I posted. It cost me nearly $50, and since I don't even make that a day, I couldn't keep using that route in order to generate my content. Now, everything you guys are seeing right now up on the screen is an AI creation. If you're curious as to why AI continues to develop pregnant women instead of my thumbnails, because being a single mom in today's dystopian world is a possibility. Susie Rottencrotch might get knocked up behind that Taco Bell. And I like to portray that at its core. Some of the details that I ask for it to create when it makes the thumbnails is I want a dystopian background, a young, unemployed, pregnant woman. Because to me, that clearly represents the dystopian future. But that's just my vision of it. All right, our final talking point. Are we just accepting this as normal now? This is a big one for me. Dystopian fiction was supposed to be a warning, not a blueprint. We live in an era where constant crisis feels routine. Pandemics, wars, economic collapse, environmental disasters. We have started to normalize this crap because you just don't care that another, bam bam event happened. Thoughts and prayers, people. Thoughts and prayers. Every time we have an environmental disaster, whether it's a fire, a flood, a hurricane, whatever it is, we're not excited anymore. These things happen. A bunch of people get murked in a plane crash. They try to put it in front of our faces for a week. And we don't care. Most of us don't care anymore. We become so numb to the media and so untrusting of both government and mainstream media that we don't care. We know that the media uses these things as distractions. They have for a long time. They'll switch it up, right? What do we not hear about anymore? We don't hear about Israel. We don't hear about the Ukraine. We hear about Trump's crazy tariffs and whatever happens to be going on in the world at that very moment. They push back the things that people aren't interested in. They highlight the things that they want you to look at now. It's all a smoke and mirrors tactic with the media. Oh, look what's going on over here. Don't pay any attention to what's going on over here. We know all the major problems in our society are not being addressed. The major problems in our society, the topics that this channel hyper focuses on every day, which is inflation, low pay, the lack of job opportunity, and the fact that there are no good jobs being created. We're all stuck at the bottom trying to figure it out, sucking air and pretending that it doesn't hurt. But the reality is it does hurt. And it hurts mainly us down here, the 99%, because the 1%, regardless of the way that the economy is functioning, it's still good. For us, we're drowning in debt. We can't find decent jobs. Our current jobs are a living nightmare. We're stressed out all the time. We're anxious. And we don't know what's going to happen to us. That's the problem, is we just don't know what's going to happen to us. All we know is that once something hits us, it's going to hit us hard and possibly cause a domino effect of making millions more homeless. And with that said, let's get into a tiny bit of toxic positivity. So for this video, I put that in, and it said this: toxic positivity isn't about helping people. It's about making them shut up so no one has to deal with their discomfort. That's what toxic positivity wants. In a video that I was working on yesterday that I didn't post, it was talking about people like me. No one really wants to hear the truth about how screwed they are. They would rather hear about how well the economy is and where their placeholder among the 1% is still there. That as long as you work hard, that you will get to your place and you will be with them. But the reality is you're going to spend most of your life dirt poor, sitting at home in the dark, wondering, why do I have to keep going to work at McDonald's? No one wants to believe that. But that's the fate of most of the people that you know. But no one wants to hear the truth. No one can handle the truth. Because the truth hurts. It hurts you right back there. The place your turd cutter. That's where the truth hurts, and that's why no one likes hearing it. People will support a system that hates them all day long because they don't want to believe that the reality is that you are completely screwed. Your current job is it. You're not going to wake up next week and realize, oh my God, I just didn't know that I'm already a millionaire and that I've got this great job and these great connections. You just were waiting. You had to be patient. There is no patient to get you into the 1%. It's just a wall that stretches up thousands of feet where you can see the other side, but you're never going to get there. But you're still going to push your face up against the glass and look in and say, oh man, look, they've already made a place for me. My name's already above my mansion. Keep dreaming, proles, because that life isn't for you. Essential and disposable is what it says above your house.